Alright, so it's been a while since I made a video and related to my hopes of Ori going to PlayStation, but this is more about the release of North for the Wicked, where the game is going to be released on PS5 and then eventually to the other consoles, being said by Thomas Mandler. PS5 makes the most sense. Ori developer explains why it's swapping Xbox for Sony. The next game from Ori and the Blind Forest developer Moon Studios is already available in early access on PC, but it's already been announced for PS5 and will come to Sony's console when it's complete. It's a change in approach from the Austrian studio, not Australian, my fault. As up until this point, it hasn't released any of its games on a PlayStation platform. The two Ori games were eventually ported to the Nintendo Switch, but not the PS5 or PS4. Writing on Discord, a outspoken CEO Thomas Mandler said tongues wagging earlier. It's a weird way to put it. Today, when he implied his company's next game could skip Xbox entirely due to market conditions. He wrote, quote, "Given current market conditions, we might only release on PS5 and potentially Switch 2 for the time being. We have to discuss with Microsoft to see what makes sense for Xbox." After these comments went viral, Mandler clarified on Twitter that he expects the game to launch everywhere eventually, but that just looking at the numbers, PS5 makes the most sense at the moment. This person go by the name of Southside Homie added Thomas Mandler saying, "Please confirm," which he did respond by saying, "There's nothing to officially confirm yet. So we want to support consoles and just looking at the numbers, PS5 makes the most sense at the moment. Ultimately, we'll ship on all platforms, but likely not at the same time." And that's just what happens to other consoles when it first released to Nintendo, PlayStation, or Xbox. It eventually gets ported to other consoles, whether like on the same time or like a couple hours later with a new trailer, or if it's a Xbox exclusive, then gets ported to the other consoles like PlayStation and or Xbox. But after Moon Studios quitted Microsoft and then switched to being published by Private Division to get their planes on all platforms, since there's a lot of demand of the Ori games to get ported to PlayStation. And I do agree of asking what makes sense for Xbox, because Xbox isn't really looking too hot right now. I mean, I already made my video where I said Xbox ruins everything, like right after that whole showcase, and then just completely shut down the studios that they bought after spending $69 million on these publishing and development studios for nothing. I mean, listen, I already explained it. I'll leave the link in the description of that video. To sum it all up, they just wasted billions of dollars for ownership of these games and then just abandoned them altogether. Meanwhile, there's also been a lot of commentary about Xbox's ability to sell software outside of Game Pass. While we don't have any hard data on that, it's not uncommon to see games selling significantly better on the PS5 due to its larger install base and reduced emphasis on subscription services. It's perhaps noting that there may be some animosity between Microsoft and Moon Studios, after one report claimed that the pair has split over toxic workplace allegations which have been aimed at Mandler and his company, which I do remember about that. But looking at the CEO's comments, it seems he just considers PS5 to be a better bet these days in terms of potential addressable audience. And yeah, it's honestly worth noting, because when the whole Xbox multi-platform business update became abroad back in February of last year, they released 4 games to the PlayStation. Like, there were some for the PS4 and PS5, some of them were PS5 specifically, for example like Hi-Fi Rush, and they sold really well. And then they released some more Xbox exclusives like Indiana Jones and the Great Circle, which there was no reason for it to be Xbox exclusive in the first place, and they released a PS5 port during the Gamescom of 2024. I didn't intend it to rhyme. Even for Forza Horizon 5, when it got ported to PlayStation, a game from 2021, it also sold pretty well. In theory, when the Ori games get ported to PlayStation, not only is that just gonna revive the studio and the series as a whole, but it could give more potential for the third installment to be made in the hands of Moon Studios. But it's gonna be it for today's video in regards of Thomas Mandler making the comments that PS5 makes the most sense. I honestly don't blame him with the whole Xbox multi-platform shift. It's a lot of potential when a lot of PlayStation players want to play Xbox games, and then when it gets ported to PlayStation, PS4, and or PS5 or PS5 specifically, it's honestly a good strategy when you're making your games multi-platform. So that's gonna be it for today's video. If you guys did enjoy, leave a like, subscribe, comment down what you think about the video. I also have a Patreon, link in the description. That's gonna be it. I'll be seeing you all later. This is Wolf Gray. Peace.